Hello everyone, welcome to Ekta's Science Education class. Right away, right learning is the motto of my class. Before we start today's topic, do not forget to subscribe, like, share this channel to more and more people, as this is the greatest inspiration for me to prepare videos like all I have prepared. It will be a inspiration for me. So I hope you like, share and subscribe this channel, and yes, do not forget to press the bell icon so that you will get the latest updates of all the videos. Okay, so without wasting the time, let's start for the today's topic. Already we have started lesson number 3 of CBSE class 7, where we started about the fiber to fabric chapter. In part 1, we have learned about all about the wool, where it come from, how the process happens and how the wool get into the market. Okay, so we have all learned this. Those who have missed that class, that video, just check my description box. You will get the link where you will get the part 1 link, and you can see it and you can cover the part 1. Now this is a part 2 where we are going to learn about the silk. Okay, we know that the clothes are like basic needs, or very important to us. Like basic needs means what? Without them we cannot survive, like air, food, water. These are the basic needs of human being. The same way the clothes, shelter, these are also basic needs. Clothes protect us from heat, cold, rain and different climatic conditions. And we wear the clothes to look smart, to look good as well. And we know that different occasion, different climatic condition, different season, we wear different types of the clothes. Even while going to the school, we wear different types of the uniforms. You know that these are the student and have their uniform of the school. Likewise, professional, different occupational people like policemen, pilots, nurses, doctors and firemen, different, they are having their own occupational uniform. So clothes, we have different uses of these clothes. So let's come to the topic, which is of the silk. We know that the fibers are of two types, the natural fiber and like plant fiber and animal fiber. These are all natural fiber. We are learning the plant fiber which we get from plants, cotton, jute, etc., and animal fiber that we get from the animals. So wool and the silk, these are the animal fiber. Now let's learn about the silk. Now silk is an animal fiber. Silk is one of the highly prized fiber because of its shining luster. As you can see, it have the luster, it have the shines. शाइन मीन्स एक चमक होती है इस सिल्क के ऊपर, इस सिल्क फाइबर में. Silk fiber is a very costly. Silk fiber is a highly prized fiber because of its shining luster. Because of this luster. Here also you can see, because of this luster. It's a costly fiber. It is a fabric for the cloth winters, and means it's a good fabric for the winter season and summer season due to the heat resistant nature. It absorbs moisture also. Now if we see the life cycle of this butterfly, if this moth, there we can see that the life cycle, this it start from this adult female silk moth. This adult female silk moth lays eggs. After 20 days, the larvae or the caterpillars start hatching from these eggs. They are known as the silkworms or caterpillars. These silkworms feed on these mulberry leaves and grow in the sides. They secrete the fine filaments from the glands on their heads. These filaments are made up of a protein which hardens to form the silk fibers when exposed to the airs. Okay, so the silkworm deposit the filaments in a number of concentric layers around its body. Through the figure of the 8 movements of the head, they result in the formation of structure called this cocoon. The silkworm enters the second stage of its life called the pupa and then develops into this moth. In nature, this life cycle occurs once a year, but under experimental setup, it can occur up to 3 to 4 times in the year also. Every butterfly undergo this type of the life cycle. Not only this silkworm, but all the butterfly generally they undergo all these stages. what is the life cycle we can consider? First of all, this adult will lay the eggs, then this egg will hatch out the larvae, and then the cocoon, it will form the egg-shaped movement and it will form the pupa stage, and again this pupa will turn into a mature butterfly and it will break this cocoon and will fly and will form this adult moth. Again egg, larvae, then cocoon, pupa, and then adult. This is the life cycle. Again you can see egg, larvae, pupa, and adult. Okay, now what is about sericulture means what? Now we know that the raising of the silkworms, in order to obtain silk for commercial purposes is called as sericulture. These silkworms, they are raised in order to obtain silk from their body, and it is for the commercial use. Production of silk is a slow and gradual process. It takes a time. There are many species of silkworm that produce silk, but among them the Bombyx mori is widely used. Okay, so what is sericulture? First of all, we'll learn. Now sericulture or a silk farming is the rearing of silkworm. It is also called as a silk farming for the production of raw silk. Sericulture is both an art and science of raising silkworm for silk production. Now there is a science also, hidden science, what the larva secretes, then what its composition made up of, all things are there, what they feed on, how the developmental stages happen. Among the species of the silkworm, Bombyx mori is the most widely used for the sericulture. Silk is known as the queen of the textile and the biosteel because of its strength. As the silk fiber is as strong as steel, it is called as a biosteel. Now history of the silk. If we see the history of the silk, Chinese tale of the discovery of the silkworm's silk was by the ancient Empress Li Zui, the wife of the emperor. She was drinking tea under a tree when a silk cocoon fell into her tea, and the hot tea loosened the long strand of the silk. As she picked it out and started to wrap the silk thread around her finger, she slowly noticed a warm sensation. When the silk ran out, she saw a small larva. She realized that this is a caterpillar larva was the source of the silk. She taught this to the people and it began to spread wide world nations. Okay, so this is all about the history of the sericulture. Okay, what is that? Once upon a time there lived a Queen Ziling, wife, the emperor's wife in ancient kingdom of China. The queen was interested in the art of weaving. One day she was sitting in the garden under a mulberry tree sipping her favorite drink, tea. Suddenly something fell into the cup. The queen jumped up and spilled tea all over her beautiful dress. Her courtiers rushed to wipe off the stains, but the queen stopped them. On the top of the tea stain on her dress, she noticed a bright web of the exquisite threads she had ever seen before. Picking up the delicate threads, she felt them soft and smooth to touch. This is how the process of extracting silk was discovered. Silk industry began to the China and was kept closely guarded secret for thousands of the years, for hundreds of the years. Later on, the rest of the world came to know about the process and production of uses of silk spread far and wide. Now, today in India also we are having the Central Silk Board, a statutory board under the Government of India. Is a national organization responsible for overall development of the sericulture and silk industry in India. It was actually established in 1949 and its headquarters are located in Bengaluru. Now we know that a popular silk source, these are the different sources. Mori silk are famous here, and actually the silk, if we see the chemical composition of the silk fiber is mainly made up with the protein serine and the fibroin with the amino acid sequence, if we see the details, there are amino acid. As we know that the complex form is protein, and its simplest form is amino acid. Amino acid is the simplest form of the protein. Okay, so this is the way how the life cycle we have seen, how it happens in the sericulture industry as well, we will see. Correct. As we know that there are many species of silkworm that can produce silk, but among them Bombyx mori is the most widely used. The silk is continuous filament fiber consisting of the protein called the fibrin and gum like sericin. Fibrin prepares the silk filament and sericin cements the two filaments together. The sericin is removed by placing the cocoons in the hot water. This process frees silk filaments and prepare for the reeling. Now let's learn the stages of the silk production one by one. Now we know that the silk moth, Bombyx mori, as you can see here in this PPT, you can see the silk moth Bombyx mori lay eggs on the mulberry tree. The eggs hatch into caterpillars. They are fed chopped mulberry leaves for 20 to 25 days. When the silkworms are about 25 days old, they become 10,000 times heavier than their first stage, like heavy like these. They are, first of all, when they are very small, they are looking like this, but they are too much hungry. They feed a lot of mulberry leaves and their body get transferred into the heavy caterpillar. They now ready to grow the spin silk cocoon. Silk is produced from the silkworm's head. Correct? This is the silkworm's head, and then force out in a liquid form through opening called the sphincters. These are the sphincters. The silk solidifies when it comes into contact with the air. The silkworm completes its cocoon, which is about 4 cm long, in about 5 days by producing 600 to 1200 meters of the silk filament. Then the cocoons are then put in the hot water. Correct? To kill the worms as well as loosen the filament. Some cocoons are preserved to get silkworms that can be used later for breeding. A single cocoon contains approximately 1,000 yards of the silk filament. The silk at this stage is known as a raw silk. The filament from several cocoons are reeled off together to prepare a continuous strong thread. Just one thread consists of 48 individual silk filaments. These you can see here, the very fine filaments, fibers you can see here. Finally, the threads are dried and raw silk is reeled and packed accordingly to the quality. And finally, these types, after dyeing, the silk fiber is emerge in the market, ready to sell. Okay, then next we are going to learn what makes this silk so special. What are the special characteristics this silk contains? Now, silk has many qualities that sets it apart from the other fibers. Silk is lustrous and can be dyed two different colors. Dye means to color. As silk can absorb moisture, okay, it can absorb moisture. We feel comfortable wearing silk dresses, silk clothes, silk sari. Silk is not affected by water, although detergents and perspiration can break down its fiber. Silk garments are light in weight and keep us warm. Silk garments can be worn into both summer and winter seasons. Silk threads are as strong as steel. So it's a biosteel also. It can be called as a biosteel. Bio means living, because the silk is reared from the living creature, so it is said to be the bio, and steel means it is the strong as steel. That's why it's a biosteel. Okay, so silk threads are as strong as steel wires of the same diameter. Moreover, because of the elastic nature, silk can be combined and knitted with other fibers like wool to prepare beautiful garments. It can be combined with any other fibers to make the beautiful out of that. Now, what are the different health hazards in the silk and wool industry? We know that in India or in any other countries, many people earn their livelihood from the wool and silk industries. But workers employed in these industries get adversely affected by many health problems and diseases. Some of the serious health problems are like sorter jobs. Here you can see many people are involved to do this sericulture or this woolen industry. There are number of the people they are involved, they earn their livelihood from these industries, their bread and butter they get from this industry. Sorter's job wool industry or in the sericulture is risky as sometimes they get infected by the bacterium called as anthrax, which causes a fatal blood disease called sorter disease. Also, the workers dip the cocoons for long hours in the boiling water to extract the silk strand. As a result of this, their skin becomes raw and blistered. The silk industry workers inhale vapors arising from cocoons in the boiling water. Also during drilling, lot of fiber and other things are inhaled by them. This results in the health problem like asthma, bronchitis and sudden bronchial allergies and related elements are there. The handling of the dead silk with the bare hands lead to various infections and illness. The workers in the weaving industry are exposed to noise made by spinning and winding machines and looms. This results in hearing disorders as well. Working in poorly ventilated and damp rooms causes various respiratory problems, and finally the person will feel ill. Although research works are carried out all over the world to develop silk and wool industries, very little has been done to improve the working conditions of the laborers of this industry. The health professionals should find out the possible means in this regard. So these are the different hazards to the workers, those who are preparing the sericulture field, those who are working in the sericulture field. Okay students, I hope you understood this chapter, which is very easy to understand. We know that silk and wool are the animal fibers, correct? Now thank you so much for the listening this video, for watching this video. Again lastly I will say that do not forget to like, share and subscribe this channel. Spread more and more this channel so that everybody will take advantage the free videos, free science videos, so that they can gain some knowledge and I will also get the inspiration from it. So thank you so much student, have a nice day, bye bye.